Then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Matthew 16:24. I didn't know how to start this video. And it's kind of different than what I would say majority of you guys are used to. And there's a reason for that, which I'll get into in a second. If this is not for you, it's gonna be a lot of spiritual stuff, no gameplay, nothing crazy in the background, just us talking, and me telling you my story of my conviction. Because I don't think I've ever done this before. But yeah, if it's not your thing, more than free to click off. I will not, discredit you or shame you for clicking off. But let's get into it. So the reasoning I wanted to do this was your boy has been struggling, and this is a big reason why my videos have kind of toppled off. And it's kind of just more or less a lot of my mental health issues are arising again. I've noticed over the last couple of months. I thought I had better control over them, really, but I don't, surprisingly. I think, like most people, I don't. And I think for my conviction to kind of make sense, into why I got to the point I was at, I'm gonna go way back to when I was a kid. So, majority of my childhood, I was never really popular. I wouldn't say I'm still not popular. I mean, I definitely had better experiences in high school than I did in middle school or anything like that, which I think is kind of funny and ironic in a way. It really stems from, just being an outcast in a lot of ways, and I think that's why I connected so much with like the Stranger Things shows and Wednesday, because they're kind of like outcasts, right? And that hits a spot. And I went through a lot of issues with bullying in elementary, in late elementary, going into middle. And I lashed out at people for my own predicament, right? I think like most people are in that type of situation. And so I did cyber school for a while, up until right around 9th grade, and then I moved to Virginia, and I finished up my high school in regular high school, right? And even through high school, I wouldn't say I was alone. I had friends, but it was more of people saw me as the weird history guy, the weird gamer, right? And the fat kid that just wanted to do YouTube and Twitch, who was never going to be anything in life. That's how kind of people saw me. I think some people still see me that way, majority. But I think in a large sense, it makes me who I am, because I think I've seen what life is like when there isn't much belief, right? So when I finished high school, I graduated in 2021. I went off to college at Regent University up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It was a Christian college. I wasn't really into Christianity at that time. It was the college that accepted me, ironically, and they accepted me for the best deal possible, right? So I went for a criminal justice degree. I was planning to do, I think it was 2 years of criminal justice degree, and if I liked it, I was going to stay for the next 2. I never really went with the idea that I was going to be convicted to Christianity. I kind of just went to just to go, see what it was like. I mainly went to make my parents proud because they're really huge into college. I wasn't really a fan of it personally. I think it's kind of pointless in the large sense, educationally speaking anyway. I was there for about a month and a half. before my conviction, and I went through a lot of different things in that first month. I was my first time being out of my parents' house. First time I was living with other people that I had no idea who they were. It was the first time I was exposed to different ways of living, right? Because I'm used to living the way I live, right? Which was very different compared to, say, how my buddy who is Jewish lived, my buddy who is Pentecostal, or it's different from how they live their normal lives, right? They do different things, they have different traditions, and that was really what blew my mind, right? Because obviously I knew those people live different lives, but it's really one thing to know that, to think it, and to live it, right? It's different. And I think I've already told my story of my ex, so I won't go into too much information with that, but about a month or so before I met her, I was fully convicted. I was in it was a Wednesday ceremony. They had Wednesday worship nights. Actually, it might have been Thursday. I think it was a Wednesday, though. And I remember thinking to myself that at this point I was going to church because I was at a Christian college and I had nothing else to do on a Wednesday night. So I went, but something was different this time. My buddy Dylan, shouts out to him for being such an awesome friend. We had a long discussion, which kind of led up to kind of whatever, everything that happened that night really kind of sparked from that moment. And we talked about a lot of things that night before church. My life, the way I've acted to others, the way I think, the way I believe, the way I carry myself as a human. And I learned a lot, and he said a lot of things that were hard to hear, but they were truthful. And I think I kind of laughed it off, in a way. Like, back in the back of my head, I heard him. But the shield that I had formed, the blockade, the wall, it had shielded me from realizing it, right? Until I was convicted. And I guess I should probably go into detail about what those things were that I was dealing with. And there's some rough ones in there.